Good evening, tubers. White Mexican back in with another video here. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into this really quickly. I'm just going to explain. The majority of this video is going to be focused on trap and magic removal cards, mostly magic cards. There's a couple of trap cards and different cards in here. They're kind of random, but that's primarily what I'm going to be focusing on today. Getting right into it, Cosmic Cyclone, the original print secret rare. It is really cheap right now. It's $2. This card used to be so much money back in like true Draco format, and it's really cheap right now. It's $2 for the original print, first edition secret rare. So that's something to consider. Moving on to Galaxy Cyclone. This is another significantly cheap card. This version is a little expensive. It gets to like $3, and then a little up there is the Megatins reprint, which is I believe $2. It's significantly cheaper. Yeah, so the Megatin print is $2. Here, first edition secret Megatins 2016, and then the original print cross souls are about $3, so that's pretty cheap. Moving here, I have Saber Slash. This is an X Saber card. I think it's pretty cool. It's a solo print super rare from an old school set, Ancient Prophecy, and I think there's a lot of a lot of deck cores that have this kind of effect, where you basically like pitch a card and then you destroy cards. It's pretty cool, but it's just a solo print. It's an old school set, and it's really cheap right now, even for the first editions. And I just love X Sabers in general, so I'm kind of biased towards that. So it's pretty cool. Moving on, Dark Magic Attack. This card is just blown out, busted. It's a really good card. This is the DT version. There is ultra rares from Ancient Sanctuary and Dark Revelations, I believe, but they're really expensive. This is really good. This is a high rarity. I love Dual Terminal. It's the highest rarity to me personally, and for certain situations. And this is cheap. It's under $1, and it's pretty much $1 all down the line here. So I think this is something to consider. It's a really powerful card for Dark Magician players. Heavy Storm. This is currently banned, of course. This is always constantly coming off and on the ban list. More specifically, I want to focus on the original prints for Metal Raiders, the super rares. That is a really nice rarity. Let's see, it's going to probably take a while to find some super rares, so bear with me here. Again, this is the original print magic cards for Metal Raiders. And, wow, I'm surprised there's still no first editions. There's one first edition for $25. Really expensive, so it looks like pretty much everyone bought out the first editions on this card. Really old school card, really powerful, really nostalgic, a lot of great history of this card. It will eventually come off the ban list, and obviously you're not going to get a first edition print from here. Maybe you can find it on other platforms. Let's look at some other versions, but I highly recommend. My number one is the original print super first edition. There's a couple of other things here, a lot of supers. There's a Legendary Collection 3 one, which is a really good set. For the Ultra, and then Legendary Collection 4. The gold actually looks really cool. It's really cheap. You know, a lot of people bag on gold, but it's the Gold Series 2008 and the Haunted Mine golds actually, well, more like Gold Series 2008. This is definitely the best for like gold rarity foiling. The gold rarity actually looks really good in these cards, I think. These are kind of like the only gold cards really tolerate. But as for Haunted Mine, the Ghost Golds look really nice. But outside of that, I don't really like the Ghost Golds. They're just the golds in Haunted Mine, but the Ghost Golds look amazing. I love Ghost Golds from Haunted Mine. But from this particular set, from the Gold Series 2008, the actual gold cards look really great. And I actually kind of want to look into this later, because this is actually, I'm just going to write myself a little note here. Sorry, I'm not editing this out because I just want to write this down really quick. Gold Series 2008. You guys got a little preview of all my little ideas here of what's to come. Anyway, so this is a pretty nice rarity, the original Gold Series. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I think the rest of these are common, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're all pretty much going to be like commons and stuff. So Honestly, try to get your hands on original print first edition or that gold series 2008 looks pretty good. Giant Trunade is next, another blowout band card. I would specifically, there's 16, well, there's a lot of prints on this one too. I would specifically focus on the original print Magic Ruler. There's Spell Ruler too. I don't really care about Spell Ruler because it came after it. It was like a reprint set, or like there was a legal issue where they changed the name of the cards. But I like Magic Ruler, Magic cards. I call them Magic cards because it's kind of like the good old days. So they're coming around $5 for first editions. This person's got 9 of them. It's a lot. So that's kind of expensive, honestly. I think this card just went up maybe hype of the ban list because this kind of comes on and off the ban list as well as Heavy Storm. This is really great card though. Definitely get the first editions. The unlimiteds are like worthless. They're like under $1. Not really a big deal. Or about $1. Let's see some comments here. Rare. I don't think it got a rarity bump. I really think that super is the only thing. Surprisingly, there's a lot of common reprints, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could do Spell Ruler too if you're into that. But I personally go for the first edition Giant Trunade, and they're only $5 right now. And if this card comes back, which it will, it'll go up a lot higher than that. $5 is still kind of expensive for me. I'd wait until it gets to like around 3 or 2. Twister. This is kind of not really gonna be used really ever because we have MST and it just completely makes this like MST is completely superior to this card in every way because you don't have to pay life points and it doesn't have to be a face-up card. But if by the miracle of God, all the removal cards get hit and we are forced to play this crap, um, it's really cheap because it's completely inferior, but it is an old school ultimate rare and it looks really cool. So for its price, $2 for an old school first edition ultimate rare. It's not that bad. No one will really play it, but I mean it's an old school ultimate, and I don't know, maybe collector's value. But a lot of these cards are kind of just like my random thoughts, so it's going to be all left up to speculation. Of course, we have Heavy Storm Duster, one of the newer cards that came out when we got busted out the link format. Really good card. A lot of people play this on their opponent's turn so they don't have to skip their battle phase. And it's basically Twin Twisters for free. Just the only downside of that is it's slower because it is a trap card. You have to set it first. And the original prints from Code of the Duelist are going for around like a little over $1. And then of course you have the Mega 2018 Mega 10 reprints, which are a little bit cheaper. Dust Tornado, more specifically, the original print. Well, the ultra rare is the highest rarity, which actually looks kind of nice. Of course, from Legendary Collection 3, one of those infamous sets that I really love. But more specifically, the Dual Terminal. The Dual Terminal Comet is literally a $1/2. There's plenty on the market. They're a $1/2. It looks really great. Also, the original print Super Rares. From Pharaoh's Servant, super old school, nostalgic set, really awesome. I wonder how much the first editions are going for. Old school first edition stuff is always worth a little bit of money. Yeah, you can see right here, like this isn't a really played card anymore. But it's kind of like MST trap form, but it's cool because you can also set a card too if you really wanted to. It gives you kind of that extra ability. It's about $6. So that's kind of expensive. I mean, I get it because it's old school first edition and this stuff's just hard to come by. But personally, I would go for the ultra rare. It's really cheap, about $1. First edition exclusively, of course, and then the dual terminal. So that's always an option. Moving on, this is a card that is pretty cool. It's like draw power and destruction, and specifically for plants. You can read the effect here. I think it's really good. It's cheap right now. I think there's like a common version. There's not that many versions of this card. There's 2 versions. There's a common from CSOC, and there's the 5Ds ultra rare, which is only $2 right now. And I think if plants get good again, which they think they have high potential to be good again eventually when they get enough link support or new gen support, I think this card will be used, and I think this card will go up in value. So remember, White Mexican said it first. This is just a random like field magic card that I think is pretty good. Its effects are pretty powerful, and this is kind of just a random card that I put in. It's a really cheap card from the Power Code link, but I think it's worth just taking a look into. It's a pretty good card, as well as this card, Signet Universe. It's pretty cool too. Yeah, I don't know. I was just reading these effects, and you can go and read them. I think they're pretty good cards. I'm just gonna quickly glance over this really quick. So if you guys are trying to read the cards and pause the videos, you can pause it here. But just some random cards I put in. Pendulum Storm. Pendulum Magician's kind of in and out of the meta. It's kind of grown popularity over the last couple weeks, and there is the Pendulum Evolution Supers, which are literally like 10 cents. And then they have the Breakers of Shadow, which is the original print, I want to say. So kind of an interesting side card for pendulums potentially, and it's really cheap right now, so that's an option. Storm, this is you're only going to want to play this card. Unfortunately, it's only common, so it's really not that much of a big deal. But if you are playing a deck where you want to destroy your own stuff, you get benefits for sending your stuff into the graveyard or destroying your cards. I think this may be a card for you. I don't think there's really a deck that's built that mechanic way yet, but maybe there will be eventually, so you might want to check that out. I love this card. This is a super old school nostalgic card from Pharaoh Servant, one of the first gen core sets. More specifically, I want to talk about the dual terminal one, which is right here. It's like just under $1. It's about 75 cents. There's plenty of, well, about 20 prices on the market, and I think that I really love this card. I'm a really big advocate of this card. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this card does. If you're an old school player, this is a really popular card back in the day. And I really like this card. I like the artwork. I love its old schoolness. It's a DT, and I think it can see play someday. And I think if it does, it's going to be a lot more than about $1. Final Destiny. This is a real situational card. The cost is so high. Discarding 5 cards is ridiculous. But if there's like a crazy draw deck that you have that you can get benefits, again, kind of like the other cards I was saying, you have a deck where you get benefits from pitching your cards into the graveyard and they activate in the graveyard, or you have some kind of effects that you want to get into the graveyard that go around the cost effect. I think this is like a blowout card. If you have a lot of draw power, you can bust out like a really fat hand and pitch 5 and get those benefits while nuking every card on the field. It's not like it's a dark hole plus a heavy storm combined. It just just nukes the field, kind of like you can see in this picture here. It's like nuclear warfare. It just kind of nukes the field. So it's a really old school card here. Of course, you're going to want to get the first editions, which are like $1/4 from the amazing Magic Ruler original core set here. Just something to look at. Trial and Stipulation. There's kind of hype behind this card a while back, and it's kind of died down a little bit. I think it's a pretty cool card here. Maybe it can be used in Monarchs or other, if like other tribute decks get popular, maybe like True Draco or something. I'm not really sure. But it is a original print secret rare, and it's about $3, which isn't that bad for an original print secret rare, and it's a really old set too. Moving on here, this is a super old classic card. Might think like I'm crazy. It's kind of a laughable card. It's not really playable, but I think it has a pretty nice effect. I would go for the original prints from Legacy of Darkness, old school set. Dragon decks are pretty powerful, and they're always going in and out of the meta, and this is basically like a Harpy's Feather Duster, except you just neg 1 by activating this card, and you return a dragon to your hand. But it's still a really powerful effect. Mostly just a bunch of commons. I don't think, is there even a, yeah, so all just commons, not really a big deal, but get the LOD one. Megaton Magical Cannon. So the reason I really specifically brought this into the video is because maybe with that new Spellcaster structure deck, if I don't really have done a lot of research on it, but if it revolves around spell counters and all that, and if you can rack up a lot of spell counters, you can slap this on the board and literally just kind of like with the Final Destiny, you destroy everything, but it's only specifically on your opponent's field, so it's like a Harpy's Feather Duster and a Regeki combined. So 10 spell counters a lot, and it kind of makes this card unplayable, but maybe if that deck becomes really busted and you can rack up spell counters really quickly, you can just slap this card out and just literally just blow out your opponent's field. This card for elemental hero players, I mean, why not? They can spam board pretty quickly, and you can pretty much just like clear your opponent's back row if you have a lot of hero cards. Plus, it's a secret rare. This card right here, not really specifically for like Violons. I don't really know anything about Violons. This card doesn't have to be played in Violons. If you play a deck that runs a lot of equip cards, it's pretty cool because it's a recycle factor, and you can either make it into a draw power or you can pop one of your opponent's cards, so it has that destruction option, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's a really diverse card if you play equip cards, so that's something to look at. This card, if you can just spam tokens and then play this card and make it pretty blowout, because it's any cards on the field, it doesn't have to be specifically magic or traps, so that's kind of cool. And I guess it's a solo print. Was this one a solo print too? Yeah, this is a solo print too. Both commons from Storm of Ragnarok. So what a set. This card here, for Battery Man, like again, just like one of those conditions for a particular deck core. I want to do a video about Battery Man. I think Battery Man, like when I do start my deck core series, I definitely want to cover Battery Man because it's a kind of really like a slow, semi-controlling deck, and it's not really, playable anymore. But they have some really powerful effects and monsters, and I think it'd be really cool to cover it sometime later. But this card is pretty cool. Like this card is a powerful card, so just something to consider if you want to build Battery Man. Night Beam. This is the ultimate rare one, so it's a little bit more pricey. It's about $5. If we get into first edition, it's going to be significantly higher. Not too much higher, about $7. So, not really a playable card. It's kind of been phased out. Really cool artwork, and it's an ultimate rare from an old school set. And, I don't know, it's just an option. I guess maybe it can come back if the meta changes and it calls for it, kind of like how Cosmic Cyclone came into popularity, but who knows. Another card here, Earthbound Whirlwind. Again, this is going to be a core specific. There's a rare here, but I would want to talk more about the probably original print Stardust Overdrive Super, where first edition is sitting at. They're like $1. They're mad cheap for first edition, so get those. I've never really heard of anyone playing Earthbound Immortal. Maybe it was popular like before I got back in the game. It's a really old archetype, but again, it's just one of those cards that's like if you control that type of monster, you essentially Harpy's Feather Duster your opponent. So I think it's good, and it's an old school super. Mystical Space Typhoon, of course, Twin Twisters, and this is going to be on the list, like classic, just one for one. I've talked about this before. My favorite rarities are the Ghost Gold, but they're kind of pricey. And, of course, the original print Magic Ruler Ultra Rares look really, really nice. The last time I checked, these for first edition were sitting at $9. I'm just going to follow up really quick, see if they're still $9. So, yeah, they're still $9. $9 for the first edition, original prints. That's kind of pricey for me. I was getting mine significantly less about a year ago, so they've kind of gone up over, like, the wells kind of started to dry on this card. But then, of course, you have the Ghost Golds from Haunted Mine, which I mentioned earlier in this video, an amazing set. Not so much for the gold, but for the Ghost Golds. There's no other set that's done this before so far on the TCG. And they're about $7, and then they quickly move to $9. So it's still kind of pricey, but these cards look really, really amazing. There's other versions, like the Secret Rare right here, which is really, really cheap. Is there a couple different secrets? I guess there's multiple secrets. And there's the DT. There's two. The Secret Rares actually look really nice, too. For what it's worth, I mean, honestly, like I said, I love original prints just like any other guy. And the first editions, being so classic and old and kind of hard to come by, especially in good condition, that's always going to be my all-time favorite. Like I said, the Ghost Golds look really good too. I really don't care for the ultimates. I think this looks like total garbage. It's nice that it's ultimate, but it's overpriced, and I don't think it looks that good. I like ultimates. I just don't think MST looks good ultimate. I'd rather have the Ultra first edition original print. The DT is really nice and cheap, but also these secret rares, I never really realized it before, but the first editions are $2, and these secret rares from Legendary Collection 3 and Legendary Collection 4 are also really good alternatives. Moving in here, this is a really situational card depending on the meta. Just two common prints here, but a pretty cool card. You know, you pitch one and destroy all face-up continuous. Oh, it's continuous trap cards on the field. So I thought it was continuous magic cards, but even better, because there's a lot more used continuous trap cards than there is magic cards. So, you know, this is a really old school set. Cheap card, plenty on the market. Of course, you want to go first edition, but it's an option if your opponent plays a lot of Floodgate continuous trap cards. Tellarknight Genesis, again, so I get confused between Tellarknights and Satellarknights. I'm pretty sure the cards are interchangeable. I think you can use them together. I'll have to verify. I'm not like totally sure. I'm pretty sure. I might just be having a brain meltdown right now. But this is a card that supports Tellarknights, Satellarknights. I'm pretty sure they're interchangeable. And this is a pretty nice card. So I might consider putting this into my Satellar deck if that's how it works. I'll have to do more research on that later. But this is a solo print, super rare, and it's dirt cheap right now, so that's something to consider. My Body's a Shield is really gone out of popularity. It used to be played like back in the day a whole lot, probably like in like 2012 era, and it's really fallen off. There's not really any good rarities. There's the only thing, like a lot of commons, and the only thing I really like is the dual tournament that's worth anything, and it's about a little bit under $2. So I mean, it's something to consider. This card is really cool. I think there's I think there's a lot more Blue Eyes players than there's Dark Magician players, but I think Blue Eyes players and Dark Magician players are really hardcore and stay true to their decks, and they're always trying to kind of like make their decks meta, and it's been a really difficult struggle for them. But this is a solo print card. It's a really powerful card. It's a Regeki / Harpy's Feather Duster combined if you have a Dark Magician or a Dark Magician Curl. A total blowout card. It's even more busted because it's a quick play trigger, and it's kind of pricey. It's like $3, and it quickly goes up. But it's a solo print secret rare, and if you're a hardcore collector or hardcore Dark Magician player, I think this card is just blowout. Another option here is Spell Shattering Arrow. You have the Ultimate Rare, it's kind of pricey. It's about $7. You have the Turbo Pack Booster 5. Super Rare, which looks pretty nice too, which is about $3. And then you have some commons gold that no one cares about. So, yep, that's something to consider. Let me just go on this really quick in case you guys don't know what it does. Pretty interesting card. Situational, but it all just depends. Maybe your opponent plays a lot of face-up continuous spell cards. Magician's Hand. This is kind of an obscure card. I didn't know about this card until I actually invested in the 2018 Mega Tins, which were a total flop. I was so pissed off that Konami didn't put Secret Rare Ash Blossom in these tins. It was the main reason why I bought these tins. Unfortunately, I did a pre-sale buy on those and kind of lost out, so I only ended up opening one case instead of the 2 cases I purchased because I was so pissed about that. And this whole set was kind of a fail in my opinion. Well, it's most players' opinion. But anyway, I think this is a really cool card. It's kind of like a slow controlling card, so it's something to look into. This is the same card just for the other card type, which is pretty cool. So this is also something to look into. So just 2 common prints for these cards, but they're kind of interesting. This card, not a lot of prints with this card, and this is an old school secret rare from Return of the Duelist. I think it has a really good effect, depending on if you're playing a deck that, you know, does a lot of tribute summons, you know, if Monarchs come back, or True Draco, or whatever popular decks that do tribute summoning when that comes back into the game. I think this card may see play. It's really diverse and really cheap. Here's a first edition secret for 60 and 60 cents, and this is just you know, an old school secret, so I think it has potential depending on the situation of the meta like everything else. This card as well, it's just one of those cards for rock decks. If there's like a meta deck that comes out that's rock type, maybe they'll use this depending on their effects, maybe not. It's kind of a slow card. I think it has really cool artwork. I don't know why this reminds me of like the Iron Giant movie. You guys ever watched that when you were kids? But anyway, I just think it looks cool. I got a thing for moons and like nighttime and stuff. So that's something to consider. I talked about this when I reviewed Dusa. This is just such a diverse card. I know some other people have talked about this on their channels, and I kind of agree with them. I definitely think that this is a card of interest. It's just so diverse, and there's a lot going on with this card. And it's a solo print from Dual Saga, which is really hard to get right now, and it's still really cheap for the most part. So I would look into this card. This card, I think, is probably like one of the more blowout cards because it's an old school ultimate rare. It's mad cheap right now. There's not too much on the market, only 2 pages, but it's really cheap right now for an ultimate rare original print. And I believe Dark Neostorm is the set where D heroes are getting a lot of new support and that they're supposed to get faster. And why not bust this card out? There's some pretty boss monsters that you can whip out, and if you hit up this card, you can, pop extra cards. And I don't know, I just mostly like it just because it's ultimate rare, I guess. And maybe it'll see play with the new support for D heroes from Dark Neostorm, maybe not, but it's just an old school cheap ultimate rare, so it's there. This card, there's only one solo print here. Again, it's just X-Saber support. I really love X-Sabers. I want them to come back. I want to build max rarity, blah blah blah. You guys know the story. It's just a good card for X Sabers. I think it has potential when they come back, if they come back, when they come back, whatever you want to put the label on it. White Veil. This is a really situational card, and it's really high cost when it gets removed from the field. But there's a lot of benefits beforehand. So if you have life points to burn, if you have too much of a tie or a big gain on your opponent, I think this could potentially see play. I don't know, maybe in Blue Eyes or Big Beater decks or whatever you want to call it. But again, it's a single print from Dusa, so that's unique. Reverse Breaker, no one really plays just straight up Utopia decks. I don't think people ever really did. I know it has some kind of random support here and there, but I think this is a pretty interesting card for what it is. It's just a common, so really easily accessible, but I mean, who knows? People want to bust out. Um, I forget. There's this Utopia card, whatever the Utopia card is, that your opponent can't play anything when they attack. And you can pop extra cards with this, I guess. I don't know. I just kind of slap cards on here just to like kind of get things going. Chicken Game is banned. I really hope that they reprint this card with a higher rarity. It's really sad that we just have a common. But it's still a good card, and eventually it's going to come back. We just don't know when. This is just on here just because it's a good card, and I'm really hoping they reprint it in a higher rarity. Black Garden kind of saw some play, went down. I didn't really know what this card did at first. The secret's kind of expensive. The original print Seesaw Supers is what I would go for, first edition. If they're not terribly expensive either. Let's see what they're sitting at. They're already $4. That's pretty expensive. So yeah, maybe wait on this card, but just the sheer fact that, the first effect that anytime a monster is normal summon or special summon, the attack is halved. The attack is halved, which is pretty just broken in general. Like, it's a continuous effect where special summoning is so rampant in this game and everything just gets cut in half. If you're playing a deck where you don't special summon that much, like an anti-meta or something, like this can literally just neg your opponent like 50% off the board every time they slap something on the board. So I think that's pretty cool. And then this card, I know, of course, this is specifically for Harpies players, which I know is a really small group of people that do play this. I personally am not one of them, but I really do appreciate the artwork, more specifically the OCG artwork. It's just completely superior in every way to the crap we got in the TCG. But enough about that. This is just one of the ultimate destruction cards in the game. Like, this isn't a hard once per turn. You can just like spam board and literally just clear your opponent's back row with this one card. just going into your game state and just going off. And there's 2 super rare prints. And if you're a Harpies player, this is just such a powerful card, and I just like it. The artwork's cool. It's cool to have the Ojama mix in there. But that's gonna be the last card for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I apologize I can't talk right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is raw. I don't edit these videos. This isn't professional. This is me just slapping cards on the screen for you guys to watch, and hopefully it helps you invest. Hopefully it helps you with whatever it is that you want to do in this game. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! You love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I just want to share my passion with you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and we'll see you in the next video.